I seem to have hit this really fun, really interesting spot in my lucid dreaming, astral projection, OBE career, where under the right conditions, and I'll go into a few of those in a moment, I'm coming aware of my projections every night. So somewhere in there, in the mix of what happens throughout the entire course of the evening and early morning, I will have a handful of places where I've come lucid, and I'm having various experiences. The conditions are somewhat simple. I'm eating a healthy diet, getting enough protein in the form of leafy green vegetables and raw milk. Some supplements, like I noticed it really helps when I start kicking up my chlorella and spirulina and green stuff in particular. And I'm getting enough rest. So I have a period in the afternoon where I can lay down for a moment, about an hour, and I get to bed at a decent hour. And if this, just sort of continues day in and day out without any interruption, then every night now, it's been a while, every night for at least the last month or so, I'm coming lucid somewhere in the night, and getting messages through my experiences. My experiences are changing. It often makes me get the idea that maybe I'll start doing something a little bit different with these videos. But the idea passes. And when it passes, I'm left with this real clear understanding that this is the space I'm holding. Just continuing to show up a time or two each week with relays of whatever it is that's happening with me is the space that I'm holding. And, it's not really easy to keep doing this year after year. I was going to start with month after month there, which would probably be more appropriate, but I enjoy holding this space. And I'm not sure why I'm bringing this up exactly right now, only I guess to let you know that I'm just going to keep continuing doing what I'm doing for all of the people who have come in on events themselves these past couple years, but the new ones that are just now coming in and who are about to come in, and I'm going to continue to be here doing this, holding this space for us all. I hope it doesn't get too boring or monotonous for those of you who have been around for some time now. I think I mentioned some time ago, that out of all of the different phenomena that tend to, define lucid dream, astral projection, out-of-body experience, phasing, all of these different The same experience for me, really. It's just the phenomena, the shift phenomena that varies for me. But out of these experiences, it's the shift phenomena of the classic out-of-body experience that has tended to be the most challenging for me, and I've tended to shy away from it, going more toward either a wake-induced lucid dream or a dream-induced lucid dream, or, projection from within coming lucid in the dream state. And even phasing, which is more, what happens in meditation for me. But it's the phenomena associated with the classic OBE that it's just really heart-pounding. It really gets me. And, OBEs for me tend to happen in the middle of the night, at about 2 o'clock in the morning. It's dark out, just the feeling of everything at that time is different than in the morning. I've always tended to be more of a morning person than a night person, so it's more comforting for me for it to happen once the sun has come up for some reason. But recently, I've really been diving into just eliminating my fear, of these events happening in the middle of the night when it's still dark out. It's a whole nother line of stuff that gets worked with. And anyway, I've just been ready to relinquish my fears here. Not that I've been wholly successful yet, but I am starting to have the classic OBE type events happen, at about the 2 a.m. hour. Again, just heart pounding. I've just recently experienced sleep paralysis for the second time. The first time happened a few weeks back, and good Lord. I probably have experienced that in the past. In fact, now that I'm experiencing it now, I have memory of it happening in the past, but I did not let myself come wholly conscious, to it, the way that I am now. There's the dweller on the threshold phenomena. I don't know how many of you are familiar with these things, but where it feels like there's this heavy thing sitting on your chest, and that can often, once your vision comes in, appear as something, not altogether pleasant, because your imagination, is going wild about what that could be, and whichever direction you're going in, imagination-wise, before your vision kicks in, when it's just a tangible sensation, well, you're going to, see something similarly associated, with the way you yourself are inwardly feeling. And, I tend to feel tangible hands on me that are sometimes, helping to pull me out of body, and things like that. And all of these things are they're pretty challenging, to deal with. I just need to dive in and get used to them, and I will get used to them the same as I got used to all the other phenomena from the other types of events. I've had some really strange things, happening the last couple of weeks since I've been more open to the classic OBE in the middle of the night. And by the way, let me say here, the more open you are to all of the various types of phenomena, that classify in detail lucid dream, OBE, astral projection, phasing, all of that, the more likely you are to be, coming conscious, in the midst of these events. If you sort of limit yourself to one type, you cut yourself off from the other, and you may not, have these things happen as frequently. I don't know, I just sort of wanted to get that in there. This morning, last night and this morning, I was really in the throes of a Kundalini event. High, that's the high intense sexual energy type of experience, when I experience what, what some people call the higher self, what I just call the environment, when it's merging with me. It's a completely, for me, sensual, sexually experienced kind of event. And in the midst of this, a lot of things can happen, especially in the middle of the night. And your consciousness is coming awake in the etheric. A lot of times there will be someone who has shown up in my room, and or right there in my bed, and or right there exhibiting what I myself am inwardly feeling. That's just sort of how it happens. Whatever you're inwardly feeling is what can manifest in the etheric and astral and beyond in various ways. And these different layers of experiences, different layers of a single experience, happen often for me. But again, it's often what happens in the etheric that is so challenging to get through. And I can't think of the exact right word here, but interpret, It's a real interesting space because of the feelings that can arise. I just get a really clear, really interesting view about how our visual realities are created. And, there's still a lot of question in me regarding real creations that are co-creations, with Source and Spirit, your soul, higher self, and those that are sort of play creations that you're coming up with somehow on your own, that I'm somehow coming up with on my own. So anyway, just diving into all of this. Eric and Carrie showed up again. It's also interesting, the people who are tending to show up quite often, if not all the time, together. Like, people are coming in groups. Eric and Carrie show up almost all the time together. One of my younger brothers and his 2-year-old son show up a lot together. My dad and my youngest brother show up a lot together. So that there's these groupings of people who are just, I don't know, I'm just sort of mentioning it maybe to myself, but maybe you're noticing this too. I don't know that I noticed it so much in the past. People tended to mostly come by themselves, and I would have direct interaction with one other person, but now they're coming in 2s and 3s and even larger sort of groups. Yeah, my siblings, my sister and my 2 younger brothers showed up this morning as well. I gotta get clear about what this is with the Kundalini energy experience and the way that it's experienced in the etheric, which is usually in the form of a man showing up here in my bed. Before one of the events, I usually get real clear visuals and audio that comes in, and just going down into my practice this morning, almost immediately, a song pops in my head, and I can hear myself mentally saying the words, and it's the song "Tempted by the Fruit of Another." I don't know, you'd probably have to be my age to remember this song, but it's on YouTube, and so you can look it up. But so interesting, because I literally had an experience that song was a perfect energy for it. It told me in advance what was about to happen. And that happened another time just last week as well. I got 3 very clear visuals, had a long shift in. I was in the inner realms for a long time, just dozens and dozens and dozens of locations. And it was only the 3 that were associated with the 3 visuals I got before shifting in that I remembered. It's so interesting. So I'm going to be paying more attention, to, these songs that I tend to hear prior to going in, and the visuals I see before going in. They're somehow helping me, maintain more of an awareness when I get back into my physical location of everything that just happened. It's very cool, very cool.